Hi all, welcome to the Marquee Matchups for the week of the 24th of October, guys. I just want to say massive thanks for all the support you showed on last week's one. Absolutely insane. So hopefully you can keep it up again. So smash likes as always, sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at GIsALegend. All the links are down below for playlists on the channel and social media links as always. So a lot of games this week as well, which is quite interesting. Hopefully you find this useful and hopefully we can smash 4 out of 4. Because we only got 2 or 3 last week. First route is we've got 2 EPL games. We've got Manchester United versus Tottenham, or you could also have the South Coast Derby, which is Brighton versus Southampton. I would say Manchester United versus Spurs is the more likely of the two, so I would imagine a 79, maybe even an 80 rated squad. Probably 2 or 3 players all told from both teams. Probably an EPL squad as well, just for good measure. Handful of nations, handful of rare players. 90-95k, I always like to go for 100 as you know. 8 to 12k for cost and a 7 out of 10 for likelihood. It's probably one of my ones that I quite fancy this week. It has that feeling about it. Brighton Southampton maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10 for a likelihood, but it's still worth noting down of course because it's a South Coast Derby in the Premier League. Because it used to always be Southampton and Portsmouth. Then over to Italy with Milan and Juventus. I don't see this route happening, mainly because of the Milan Derby happened. And saying that, when Milan and Juventus played last year in, I think it was one of the cups, this did feature, but obviously I personally don't see Milan happening again for about the 3rd time already for Marquee Matchups. But I've still got to cover it though, guys. It keeps you guys covered in case this was to happen. Still a 6 out of 10 for likelihood, but 2 players from both teams, handful of nations, handful of rares. I just keep to the league, guys, as usual, because I feel it's the smartest way to go about it. But as I said, I personally don't fancy it. I would say they'll look at other options this week and have still got plenty to kind of work with. But obviously, see what happens with them nonetheless. Over to Sweden with AIK versus Göteborg. This is a funny one maybe that could happen. This could be one of the lesser routes, to be honest. For me, at least a 70 rated squad. And then for me personally, either having my smart way about this would at least go on a handful of Swedish, but also got a handful of nations as well. So I have 4 or 5 Swedish players, but I have a handful of nations thrown in as well in case I go for that basis. Go for the goals of like Elm, Olsen, Karlstrom, these kind of guys. It would kind of cover your back and it just bumps up the rating nicely, and then you can build the squad around them and it would be fairly straightforward. But a 5 or 6 out of 10 for likelihood, guys. I feel it's a bit, it could feature, but there's other big games as well, such as the Birmingham versus Villa game in England. Obviously now, because Ipswich and Norwich are featuring, I think they're going to pass on this game. However, we've still got to feature it, guys. Nonetheless, it has a very, very strong shout. I would still give it a 7 because of the nature of both teams, and obviously it doesn't hurt to do the League 2 weeks running and over such a strong game. But I'm still fancying it nonetheless. I would say I've got about 5-7 out of 10 shouts this week. But still, 74 rated squad, handful of rares, handful of nations, at least 2 from the teams respectively. Going to cost maybe 5 to 8, maybe even push the 10k as well. But for me, I would say keep away from it potentially. Now this one is the Derby of the Eternals or something. I'm sure that's about right for what the Panathinaikos versus Olympiakos game is. This is, for me, one of my confident shouts. I would say I quite fancy it. If you invested in it last week, then obviously hopefully you've kept all your investments, or if you sold most of them off to make some profits, fair play. I fancy this route yet again. I fancy it more than last week, let's put it that way. This is a very big game in Greece. This is a very hotly contested game. Couple of players, handful of Greeks, handful of nations, handful of rares. Kind of the same principles again. They might actually put so many from the league as well. So be prepared for that. 7 to 10k could be kind of cost, but overall rating could be anything. Then over to Poland. Not real fancy this one, but it's like the what's the triad of the big 3 or something to call it. Lech Poznan and Wisła Krakow. Probably my 5 out of 10 shout, one of the lesser shouts. But as long as you build a 78 squad, guys, you're going to be covered nonetheless. A couple of players from Lech Poznan and Wisła Krakow. Build the league, a handful of rares and nations, and as long as you get your 90k covered, you're going to be well and truly sorted. As I said, there's much stronger options this week. I personally would I wouldn't keep away from it completely. As long as you just have enough to cover the respective requirements, I would say should just be enough as an option. you can invest in a little bit if you want maybe say like a few K, like 5 to 10k. Then from there we go over to Switzerland. This time it's another game that, like last week we had the Zurich derby and it didn't feature. This week it's Zurich versus Basel. This is like the city derbies that they do whenever it's a Zurich team and a Basel team. I don't really personally fancy it happening, but Basel always seems to. Basel featured last year, and it could be the kind of route that it might sneak in. But my smart option would be buy the goals like Horu, Anderson, Van Wolfswinkel, Vaslik, all these kind of guys, Lang, etc. Try and buy all the goals, and then just try and, as long as you cover like a 72 to 74 rate squad, you should be well and truly covered, and you're sorted from there. Then Freiburg versus Stuttgart or Bayern versus Leipzig are your two Bundesliga options. For Freiburg versus Stuttgart, that is the actual recognised derby in the league. It's the Derby des Schaffen or something. I can't pronounce it anyway, despite being quite fluent in my German. But for me personally, 78 rate squad. This is my actual 7 out of 10 shout. I feel they would give this game a bit of impetus, and it's worth recognising as well. Stuttgart obviously have done quite well since they've came back up, and Freiburg aren't 100% on form. But for me, this would be a smart option, smart option to cover for the Bundesliga. It saves covering all the big games always, and as I said, as long as you cover the Bundesliga, but obviously cover a Bayern and a Leipzig player in your squad as well, just to cover that safety net. And from there we go over to the Saudi League, and then we've got ourselves Al Nasser and Al Hilal, which is the Riyadh derby. I don't really fancy this happening, due to like, while it is a major derby in the Saudi League, the big game was last for this week when it with all the 20 games, but obviously that never featured. Where it could feature this week is a different matter. Smart options, just go for the goals like Villanueva, Carlos Eduardo, Leonardo, and then just kind of cover your back for Al Soma, Fet Fasidis, all these kind of players. As long as you're covered on those bases, guys, I always feel you've at least covered on the overall. Cover a few nations as well, like I've got Izagiri and a couple like Brazilians as well, and I feel then you're kind of sorted. Over to Scotland, guys, we have the Hibs versus Hearts Edinburgh derby. This is the first time they've played in the Scottish Premiership for about 4 years. They have played in the Scottish Championship and the Scottish Cup, but for me this is a very big game. This is my 6 out of 10 shout. I'd even push it to 7 if I really feel confident about it, but I'm willing to say a 6 out of 10. It has a strong shout. Only problem is it plays on the Tuesday night when the Marquee Matchups drop, so that might go against it. But still, obviously the League Cup is what Hibs have this weekend. That's why this game's been played on a Tuesday, for what I understand. But for me, this could be very, very interesting. I would say it has a strong shout if they were to give preference to these games. Then over to Boa Vista versus Porto, which is a big game in Portugal. This is one of the big derbies that they have. I'm sure I forgot about this last year. I might be wrong, but I'm well stacked for Liga NOS players, I would say, and hopefully you guys are. I've already been well stocked in the league from the get go. But 2 or 3 players from the team, as long as you build up the league, is quite smart. It also gives it a reason with the SBC out. It bumps up the prices a little bit. But a handful of rares, handful of nations, even a handful of Portuguese doesn't go amiss. And as long as you cover 77, 78 rated squad, 8 to 12k, even 7 out of 10 for likelihood, it has a very good chance of happening in my personal opinion, due to the 2 teams. So the final route of the week is another Zenit versus Moscow based derby. So this week is Zenit versus Lokomotiv. There's a great chance to do it this week, obviously with Zenit featuring in the League SBC and obviously the whole Russian league. But they slipped up, I feel, in my personal opinion. But still, nonetheless, I feel they'll not really do this league for a number of reasons. So 5 out of 10 for likelihood, but still cover yourself with a number of players across the league, a number of nations, not number of like Russian players, rares, and as long as you're a 77 rated squad, you should be fine, guys. So as I said, my 4 that I really fancy is the Manchester United game, the Panathinaikos Olympiacos. Then I would say my third confident shout would be like the Bundesliga option, and then looking between the Villa game, the Hibs game, and then maybe like the AIK game, or even going to the Saudi League. So hopefully you find this useful. As always, guys, let me know in the comments down below what 4 you fancy this week. This is pretty much everything that there's covered. I think there's only like the Argentina League is the only other one that can kind of creep in. But smash links as always, sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, G's a Legend. Take it easy, all. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later.